Who ordered the double triple decker sardine and marshmallow fudge sandwich? Here's your spooky spot on Jada Toys. Scooby-Doo, Shaggy Rogers. Get ready to bring the mystery-solving, sandwich-loving icon to your collection with the Scooby-Doo Shaggy 1/12 scale action figure by Jada Toys. This highly detailed collectible captured the laid-back yet lovable Norval Shaggy Rogers, the ever-hungry best friend of Scooby-Doo and key member of Mystery Inc. Whether he's running from ghosts, solving mysteries, mostly by accident, or chowing down on a massive sandwich, Shaggy is always ready for adventure, if he's not too scared. Between catching Z's and letting out zoinks, Shaggy Rogers will be scarfing down snacks with his old pal Scooby-Doo. Yet though Scooby-Doo is nowhere to be found. Where are you, Scooby-Doo? Apparently he's not part of the first wave. The first wave of new Jada Toys Scooby-Doo figures consists, though, of Shaggy Rogers, the Mummy of Anka, and also the Creeper, all of which we will be looking at in other reviews coming up this week. In the meantime, though, back to Shaggy. We'll take the tape measure, of course, to see how tall the figure stands. We'll bring in some other examples of Jada Toys figures as well. As for his height, if you count the little tuft of hair that's sticking on the top of his head, then yeah, Shaggy's going to stand at 6 1/4 inches in height, making a figure that's about 15.5 centimeters tall. It's so crazy to think of how many nostalgic licenses Jada Toys has handled so far. I know, again, we've looked at a lot of the Street Fighter figures, but if we go back to something a little bit more spooky for this spooky season and all, here's one of the serial mascots along with Shaggy, Frankenberry. Shaggy considers himself to be quite the cool cat, and what better of a cool cat to display him along with than Chester Cheetah from Cheetos. On occasion, I have said this, the Jada Toys uses some of the best plastics when it comes to their figures. Very flexible, very user-friendly. The kind of plastic that you know isn't going to be breaking, which makes things then easy when it comes to changing out the various accessories that come included with Shaggy. In the category, though, of most likely to be lost, Shaggy does in fact come include with one standalone Scooby snack. Look how small this is. I mean, at least, though, he does have a hand already designated for holding the Scooby snack. But I know, though, this is something easily that's going to get lost. Luckily, though, Shaggy does also come included with a box of said Scooby snacks. So you can take yourself the Scooby snack and put it in the box with, I would normally have said the others, but if you look at inside the box, it's basically just pre-molded. It's supposed to, I guess, look like there's several Scooby snacks inside, but obviously you can't dump them out. But you can put the standalone one in there and just hope you don't bang the box. On the side would normally be nutritional information. On the back is pretty much the same in the front. Very much similar to the cereal mascots that we've also gotten as well. Count Chocula, Boo Berry, and Frankenberry have all come included with cereal representations of their boxes. I think it's really cool that they include as well a box of Scooby snacks. Now, again, I did say the Scooby snack would so be easily lost. Luckily, though, on the end of the arm, you can see that Shaggy does have a designated hand for holding the Scooby snack. Just pry the finger so easily away from the palm, and he can hold the Scooby snack almost as if he's offering it to you. Oh, for me? Thank you. I would say one thing, though. I mean, with this hand already being clearly designated for holding the Scooby snack, I would have then done one better, and I would have just molded the Scooby snack on the end of his finger anyways. Because if you think to yourself, what am I only going to do with this anyways? Say if I take the Scooby snack away, it looks like he's then holding something invisible. Now, I could also just glue this in his hand. I really don't want to have to do that, but I think with Jada Toys already assigning this hand anyways for holding the snack, I would have then taken the steps after that, and I would just molded the snack into his fingers. And then you wouldn't have never had to worry about, I shouldn't even do this, just in the off chance, but you'd never have to worry that he'd ever end up losing it. Let's just put that off to the side just for 1 second. By the way, though, the box of Scooby snacks can also fit into his other hand. So it's very easy. And it's not going to go anywhere. I had this also the way that it was displayed when I was first rotating on the rotisserie at the beginning of this review. I don't know if I would be likely displaying the figure with the box of Scooby snacks and the Scooby snack on its own, but I do like the fact that they actually include those things. Shaggy does also come included with a couple of swappable hands. Now, one thing I will say about the hands, this hand again is already designated for holding the box of Scooby snacks. This other one, again, we've already established is for holding the snack, but then he also comes with a pair of relaxed hands. I myself would have probably preferred to have a pointing hand. And the reasoning why I say a pointing hand, as I'm waving vigorously the other hand here. By the way, the hands, just a case of wiggling the hands from the post like that. Very, again, easy to change these accessories out. And again, you just give himself, well, it still looks like he really is holding something. But again, like if Shaggy wants to be walking, you can just kind of give him more of the neutral hands, and that's the better fit for him. The thing why I say the figure should have really included a pointing hand is that he also comes with a shrieking face. So then you think to yourself, hey, how much cooler would it have been had they given him a pointing hand and then they've given him the shrieking face? It would look like he'd be like saying, ghosts! Unfortunately, they don't give him that extra hand. Again, like with this hand, really not that much different. I mean, again, if you look at this hand and then you look at the other one that swaps out for it, it's not that much different. I think, though, a pointing hand would have gone a long way, especially with the next swappable head sculpt these comes included with. I guess before we actually change the head, I do want to show you guys what the neutral head sculpt looks like. A good all-around looking Shaggy. I mean, we looked at a couple of Shaggy and Scooby-Doo figures from the past. I'm trying to think of the name of the company that was the one that was responsible for it. I'm just drawing a blank. But I did a whole bunch of Scooby-Doo toys way back in the day. Oh, it's gonna come to me. It's gonna come to me. But I think the heads and the rest of the bodies on these figures look really good. One thing I do want to apologize to for Jada just for saying this. I did make the comment earlier in premieres and when we were looking at other figures. I said I had gotten a whole bunch of new Scooby-Doo figures and I was really disappointed with the coloring of the green. In the packaging, this section right here for the lower part of his t-shirt looked quite darker than it does right now. I mean, I will still say, like, the color isn't quite 100% the same. The sleeves and the top of his top look very much different than the color of the green that they got for the lower end. I think a lot of it is because the top plastic here is a little harder. The softer plastic down below is softer for a reason, because then there's some additional posability in there as well. Unfortunately, because this is softer plastic, it loses some of the seamless, the color matching, because again, like the top of the color of the green looks a lot more brighter than the coloring down below. I guess there really is no way around that. I would have, again, preferred if the green could have matched. But again, like out of the packaging, it doesn't look as bad as it did maybe inside the packaging. Of course, the guy's a little tuft of hair, though. One thing that's good, at least about the tuft, is it's softer plastic. So even though most likely people probably wouldn't be doing this on the figures with their figures on display, but this is more just me to show you guys, not just to annoy you, but it's to show you, though, that the plastic is at least soft enough that you don't have to worry about this breaking. Again, Shaggy does come included with a shrieking portrait. And again, if you want to just change the head, you just pop the head from the ball joint like that and swap it out with the shrieking face. There we go. Oh, I'm still thinking of that name of the company that was doing. I did a whole bunch of them. I did like the Mystery Mobile, mystery and characters. I'm drawing an absolute blank. It's going to come to me. It's going to come to me. But yeah, all in all, like the plastic feels really good for Shaggy. I think both head sculpts look really good on him. I like that they've now painted in the additional tongue. Of course, a little chin beard there is nicely sculpted. I wouldn't even necessarily say it's sculpted. It looks like it's more painted onto the face itself. But I think that's a really good looking face for Shaggy. Now just think, now if you look at this, right, and you had, say, a pointing hand, how much better would that look on the figure? Because again, like, I don't really feel like these hands necessarily need to be the exact same or somewhat similar like this. I think by giving him a pointing hand would have worked a whole lot better with this particular face. Again, like the plastic is done really well on this. The plastic feels good. It's kind of plastic, again, like where you feel like you can really have a lot of fun with figures without any worries at all that the plastic or the joints for that matter are going to break. Of course, he's got the longer draping pants done all nicely here in brown. Big, clunky, big, chunky looking boots. I was kind of surprised, actually, that they didn't put any pegals on the bottoms of the feet. To be fair, though, I guess Shaggy doesn't have a problem necessarily to stand. He stands perfectly fine if you lean him a little bit further forward. You can't kind of get him in a walking stance. There's really no way around that. But again, if they, I guess, put a couple of holes on the bottoms of his feet, you probably could have then used a display stand. For the figure's articulation, now he has quite a bit, actually. The head's going to be on a top ball joint, so already right away you can rotate the head all the way around. You can bend the head down and up, and you can also move it back and forth. In addition to that, though, Shaggy does also have a hinge joint down below at the neck. Now, I think I would be failing as a reviewer if I didn't also talk about the fact that clearly, like, the coloring of the plastic looks good for the head and it looks good for the neck. Because this area right here, they had to paint it on the green plastic, it looks a little darker than the neck above it. I mean, again, it's a hard thing to kind of color match, especially when you're dealing with flesh coloring when you're putting it over top of a different colored plastic. The arms do rotate all the way around, no issues there. Because there is also a single hinge, the arms can go up not quite fully at 90 degrees. There is also a swivel at the bicep, and I like that they hid the swivel underneath the sleeve, so you can move the arm back and forth that way. Shaggy does also have a double hinge on his elbow, so you can put his hands up to his head. I guess you could also do that as well if you want to have him look like he's shrieking at a ghost. That's one way as well. The figure does also have a hand that swivels all the way around. You can hinge it back and forth. I know, again, because this is all softer plastic, one thing it does benefit, at least, it gives a lot of posability to the figure. Not so much from the top, because that wouldn't really change anyways if this was harder plastic. But it does seem, though, like I think they've done this deliberately, so like the waist can do a lot more motions. The softer plastic, I don't think is the kind of plastic I would worry about splitting over time, but that's one of the main reasons, I'm sure, why they chose to use a different type of plastic. Again, the color isn't 100% correct, but it looks a lot better in hand than it did inside the packaging. Legs split out. And because, again, he's got the splits on the sides of his shirt, Shaggy can easily pull a Van Damme splits. Legs come forward, they can go back. There's a nice swivel there at the top of the thigh. I did notice, though, with mine, the top of the leg seems a little on the looser side. Still, he has double hinge on the knees, and he has a fair bit of articulation in his ankle, back and forth, up and down. Again, no peg holes and bombs at his feet. Does figure look good? Yeah, he sure does look good. If this is really, again, setting the bar for what we're going to be getting with future Scooby-Doo figures. And it's really weird, like with Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo is one of those licenses. It seems like a company picks this up, and then they run for it a little bit. You know, they put out a few ghosts, they put out a few characters, and then the company just stops producing the license altogether, and then it moves to somebody else. I think Jada Toys, first of all, with the track record that we have had with other Jada Toys licenses, what they've done with the serial mascots, Chester Cheetah, Tony the Tiger, not to mention, again, what they've done with the Street Fighter line. The Street Fighter line, for pricing of what those figures are selling for, and the pricing for what they sell these figures for, $25 or so a piece. I think that's a steal of a deal when it comes to picking these up. Again, I do hope that they're going to be doing a whole bunch of different ghosts. I mean, we already know that there's going to be a wave 2 that's going to have Daphne. Daphne's going to be part of that as well. But yeah, this first wave is going to have also Creeper, Mummy of Anka. I don't know if I necessarily would have thrown the Mummy in there. I think the Knight would have made more sense, because the Knight would have appeared in the first episode of Where Are You, Scooby-Doo? Or Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Other than that, though, I think Jada Toys, out the gate with the first character from Mystery Incorporated, I think I've done a solid job, a bang-up job on Shaggy Rogers here. Apparently having my own mystery to solve. The company, by the way, that was producing a Scooby-Doo license about a decade or so ago was Character Building. Character Building not only released 2 variations of the Mystery Machine, but they also boxed as well members of Mystery Incorporated along with ghosts. So like Shaggy, for example, was boxed along with the Wolfman. I've done reviews of them about 8 years or so ago. But I hope, though, that we're getting future ghosts. Now, we've already been shown images of the Wave 2 that's going to consist of Daphne. There's also the Deep Sea Dive Ghost. So definitely looking forward to what Jada Toys has lined up. I mean, if they've, again, looked at the proven track record of what Jada Toys has already done with other licenses, like look at, for example, Street Fighter. Street Fighter, I think, is probably a good telltale sign that if Jada holds on to the license of Scooby-Doo, and I certainly hope that they do, I think it's going to be a bright future for Scooby-Doo fans out there. Now, when it comes to certainly the release of Shaggy, I think it was a good thing to release him first. I mean, I don't think we necessarily have to release a Scooby-Doo first. Scooby-Doo probably could easily come out a little bit later. Again, we're going to be getting Shaggy first, then Daphne. Of the accessories that come included with Shaggy, you get 2 pretty cool looking portraits. You get the box of Scooby snacks. And again, I don't know about the idea of maybe releasing a Shaggy with a small individual Scooby snack. That's clearly going to get lost. With me having a really proven track record of losing things lately when it comes to reviewing these things, I know if I'm not careful, that tiny little Scooby snack that kind of looks a little bit like a chicken McNugget is going to fall to the floor and my cat's going to take it. No, I think it would have been a better thing to have maybe Jada sculpt the Scooby snack on the end of the finger, because you're only going to be using that hand anyways. Speaking of hands, with this head sculpt I'm using here for the wrap of this review, I myself would have rather they included a pointing hand, because the other hand that they give Scooby, or Shaggy, is pretty close to the one he already starts with when he gets out of his box. What do you guys think of Shaggy? Let me know down below in the comment section. Do you think it's also smart that Jada chose to go with Shaggy first, or if you would have gone right away to releasing a Scooby-Doo? I think to introduce this to a collector's market, I think it made a better sense to release it with like a human character of Mystery Incorporated, so you can get the idea, the vibe of what they're going to be doing with the license moving forward. Shaggy, I think, made a better sense to release in part of the first wave, even though, again, I question whether the Mummy of Anka probably would have made the most sense. I think when really the Knight would have been the first one in the very first episode of Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? I think it would have made more sense to release the Knight instead of the Mummy. Anyways, let me know what you guys think of this license down below in the comments section. Have you guys at all picked up the new Jada Toys Scooby-Doo figures? And what do you guys think of them so far? As mentioned already, we're also going to be looking at the Wave 1's Creeper, and we're also going to be looking at the Mummy of Anka. They're going to be coming your way in upcoming spookerific reviews. If you guys did enjoy this video, do it a solid. Throw it a like. You guys want to stick around for more so? I hope so. Hit the subscribe, turn on that bell, and keep your ghoulish peepers peeled, because it's going to be more spectacular reviews coming your way. As always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.